Milcert Garage. All right. We go for the world record of most amount of videos in a 24-hour period posted to YouTube on this account, of course. All right, let's see. Where's my paperwork? I wanted to go over. I thought this would be interesting. I'm going to show you something that I do all the time. I thought maybe you guys would get a kick out of this. And it's looking up patents. So since I mentioned, I think I might have mentioned in the Savage Model 6A video about looking up about a certain patent. So I said that I had read that it was a patent for, let me put this in here, it was a patent for the gills on the gill gun. All right, so watch. I don't know even if you know this, but Google has a Google patent specific. Look at this, Google patents. How cool is that? So I put in this patent and I come up with this. You could enlarge it. You could move them around. This does not look like the gills, but I want to show you. Somebody was a little off, but that was the patent number they gave. But this does still look familiar, right? Well, watch this. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a cool way to do this. What you could do is, here's Nicholas L. Brewer. He is the inventor. If you click on his name now, it's going to list every patent. There's 2 pages. So there's that page plus these 2. And you could see that most of them are firearms. Mechanism for control of breech. Feed mechanism. See, when you come up with patents, you had to patent every specific thing. He was definitely the designer of this entire gun, the 6A. And see, it's like firearm, sight, the sight, mechanism for control of breech, bolt, return, and release of hammer, trigger and sear mechanism, feed mechanism, release mechanism for semi-automatic firearms. And then what's really weird is, in the middle, there's a bolt, anchor, and retrieving means, and an anchor. So, it looks like in the 50s, this guy moved into anchors, but in the 30s, he was definitely involved with Savage here, with the firearms. So here's what's interesting. Let's just take this one first. What you do is you download the PDF, because when you download the PDF of Google, not only do you get the drawings that are just, I mean, you print these out and you look at these, that's just crazy interesting. So this is for like the bolt. You could definitely see the resemblance here. He's patenting the bolt, the notches in it, and how it fits in with the trigger mechanism. Then the text is what's really interesting, because they will not issue a patent. The United States Patent Office will not issue a patent unless it's a unique design. You can't just, even if it's something that hasn't been patented before, it just can't be generic. It has to be unique in a way. It has to be something about your design or idea that sets it apart, different from the norm. Look at all this text that explains those couple of drawings, just these 2 drawings right here. It's wild. And if you see, remember I said that little thing that flies off? This is like what that is, and this is his, this is the mechanism for like the feed coming from the tube magazine. This was an early one, so you can see this, it's different. It's, he moved on from here, I think. But let's go ahead a little bit more. Oops, that's not where I wanted to go. out there, I want to go back here. Right. So let's go. Here's release mechanism. So let's see what he's talking about with that. Again, download PDF. It's much easier to look at the pictures that way. And here, again, I don't know if you remember me putting it together. This was the bolt with the firing pin in that T slot like that. That looks familiar to me. I remember that. And then here's various components of the trigger mechanism itself. And this trigger mechanism is unique in a way that it captures the bolt. Remember when you fired, the bolt would stay back, and then when you release the trigger, then it would come forward again. See, that's something that's different and unique. That's why if you read all of this, you'd see how, and it's somewhere in here, it'll have a purpose for that even, you know what I mean? It's, you often find them crooked like this because they were captured from like the original patent books from the 30s. Look at how long that text is to read. And Nicholas L. Brewer on the bottom, this is who that patent belongs to. And what's cool is it has all the information here too of the times and everything. So I had the dates wrong. I had said, originally I see that he patented stuff for this rifle in 37 and 38. And somebody had quoted a patent of date of 1940 that it was applied in 1942 that it was accepted. This one was 1940, see? But let's move on from here. Again, I want to show you. I've got a certain one of these in mind. Now, feed mechanism. Here's where it's cool. I wanted to do this. So here's the feed mechanism now. And here now watch. I want to switch over. Check this out. Remember from the video. This is from my video. Remember this lifter here, right? And this area here where the round came in from. And remember the blue snap caps were tipped up like this, like in this direction where I'm putting the pointer diagonally into the breech when the bolt was back. Here's that trigger mechanism. That did show in one of these drawings. You'll see how I showed how the safety blocks are off over here, how it shows that. And this trigger mechanism is unique in that it captured the bolt open until you release the trigger. But this lifter mechanism with this spring, see this spring right here? This spring right here. And this one here that wraps around here that operates the lifter. They're definitely unique in the drawings here. I'll see if I can find them. See, here they go. Here's that lifter. Here's that spring, that weird spring that completely encased this thing. And 1943, this is issued. Again, look at the length of the text. And with being that these are all PDFs, they're easily printable right to a printer that you have. I mean, it's like you just stack these all one on top of each other. If it was a gun that you really wanted to, I didn't mean to close that. Oh yes, I did. Okay, good. So trigger mechanism, that was feed mechanism, right? That's the sight. Looking for one in particular that's gonna really blow you. Here it is. So now this is the one that I had gotten the numbers for, which somebody had said was for the gills, and they were absolutely right. It was for the gills. But there are, like, you see there's like 8 other patents in there for every other aspect of the gun, and I had thought maybe this guy just patented the gills and that's all he did. And this one I read fully. So you see the gills are very much like they are on the gun in that there's one here. And he explained even why there's one here, because he said there's the buildup that happens way up front right near the breech is the worst buildup. So that's why there has to be one even on the other side to clear that out, to keep that clear. And that how these are designed with a specific sized spacing compared to the depth of the steel of the receiver. that was carefully worked out. And look over here, look how there's diagonal ones. And in the text that's down here, in this, look, see, so it's 1, 2, 3 pages of this, right? I read all of that, and it says that if you wanted to, if it was thinner, the receiver was thinner, you could angle them like this to angle them away from the shooter's face. The biggest worry with this was that gases would blow out of these, would blow out into the shooter's face. He said if it's the thickness of the receiver, you could put them straight. But if it's a thinner sized receiver, you could angle them like this at a 45-degree angle to keep it away from the shooter's face. But there is no gun, I don't think, where they're angled like this, but he patented this too, just in case. Just in case somebody wanted to get slick and angle them and say that it was their own design to do it that way, he patented that. And what else? There's some other cool ones here. Every aspect of this rifle he has patented. Here's more. See, there could have been revisions if you look at this. See, this is 1937, so this was the original patent. See how you see the round here? They even show how the round is. You see that, right? How the round is angled here. I remember seeing that in my video where I was showing the operation of it. But this was the original 1937 one. So this is like my actual rifle and how it would look. And then the ones from 1940 or so, from 1941, you see there's other ones. There might be revisions that he had done. This gun definitely went through a lot of revisions. So there's a lot of people that say the rifle doesn't feed good. And maybe that's because these older ones, they did have problems when they started to wear. Doesn't seem like mine has a problem. I'm gonna definitely have to go test it out and really see how it shoots, but it seems to cycle. The snap cap's fine, but maybe this design doesn't last long before these springs start getting a little worn and it starts being troublesome, where his newer designs take care of that problem. That could definitely be why there's so many patents seemingly for the same thing. And then these last ones, see, it is important to check the dates. See, this is 1942 now. So this is a patent for a feed mechanism, but it's 1942. It was much different than 1937. You can see there's some differences. See, this spring goes like this. See, so you could look through these to see which exact specific model you have. You could date your gun this way. Since these things don't have serial numbers, this is how you would date it. And this is a completely different system than I have. It doesn't look like this at all, mine. These springs are totally different. So you see how it's changed, and he was the designer that even designed the changes and patented the changes. Nicholas L. Brewer. See, he's further adapting the new and improved construction and operation to provide a firearm of the class described of new and improved construction. So that's what he's doing. He's updating his patents as years go by and he figures out a better way. Mechanism for control of breach. I mean, look at all of these. This one's 1945, so now he's really along the, this says everything. This says the bolt, firing pin, trigger mechanism, updates to the trigger mechanism. Updates to the lifter. Very interesting. See, I believe it shows here what patent number it's a reissue application. This improvement pertains to a better gun combination, including the structure, mode of operation and results in the use of a semi-automatic slow-floating firearm. So these are improvements there. Right in the first paragraph, they're telling you here that these are for improvements. So so yeah, like I said, this was my my example here from 1937, and you can compare this to the drawings, and you can see exactly which patent it is that your gun is following, and help to date it that way. But that's what I like to do. You could do that with just about any one of these guns. Once you get one patent number, you put it into Google. It goes to Google Patents, and then you could click on that inventor, that guy, the guy's name, and you can actually look at every patent ever put forth by that guy. So you could really pour through all the patents for one specific gun, and there isn't much more that you'd be able to. How much further would you be able to break it down? But the patent drawings, I mean, they're very detailed. You can see that. So anyway, hope that opens up a whole new avenue of you playing around. Be careful and have fun.